We often think of Superman as the pinnacle of power, the unbeatable hero, the strongest being in the universe. For decades, that's how he's been portrayed. But what if I told you there was a moment, a single terrifying moment, when Superman himself realized he wasn't the strongest? A moment he came face to face with a power so immense it made his own abilities seem insignificant. This is the story of when Superman heard the voice of the universe and everything he thought he knew was shattered. This incredible event takes place in the storyline Superman the Black Ring. At this point in the comics, Superman is dealing with the aftermath of New Krypton's destruction. He's feeling a mix of guilt, anger, and helplessness. He's already in a vulnerable state, questioning his own limits and his role in the cosmos. It's during this time that he encounters a cosmic entity, a being of pure thought and energy that has existed since the dawn of time. This entity isn't a villain in the traditional sense. It's more like a force of nature, a fundamental part of reality itself. This being communicates not with words, but with pure, unfiltered information directly into Superman's mind. Imagine every thought, every event, every feeling from every living thing across all of space and time, hitting you all at once. That's what Superman experienced. It wasn't just hearing voices. It was experiencing the entirety of existence simultaneously. He felt the birth of stars and the death of galaxies. He witnessed civilizations rise and fall in the blink of an eye. He experienced the joy of 1 billion births and the sorrow of 1 trillion deaths, all in a single, overwhelming instant. For a being like Superman, whose senses are already heightened beyond human comprehension, this was an overload of unimaginable proportions. His superhearing can pick up a whisper from miles away, but this was different. This was the universe itself speaking, and its voice was a chorus of infinite experiences. In that moment, Superman was no longer just Clark Kent from Kansas or Kal-El from Krypton. He was a tiny, insignificant speck floating in an ocean of cosmic consciousness. The entity showed him beings of such power that they could warp reality with a mere thought. It showed him forces that govern the laws of physics, forces that Superman himself was subject to. He saw gods who played with galaxies like marbles and ancient intelligences that existed in dimensions beyond his perception. These weren't enemies to be punched or problems to be solved with heat vision. They were fundamental aspects of the universe, as essential as gravity or time. And that's when the true realization hit him. His strength, his speed, his invulnerability, they were all relative. Mighty on Earth, yes. Powerful in his own solar system, certainly. But in the grand cosmic scheme, he was just one powerful being among countless others, many of whom were vastly more powerful than he could ever hope to be. He saw beings who could extinguish suns with a gesture, who could rewrite history, who viewed someone with Superman's power as a child views an ant. This experience didn't just humble him. It fundamentally changed his perspective. The weight of being Superman, the symbol of ultimate power, was lifted. He realized his strength wasn't about being the strongest. It was about using the strength the asterisk did asterisk have to do the most good. It was a profound and terrifying lesson. He learned that true strength isn't about physical might, but about character, about compassion, and about the will to keep fighting for what's right, even when you know you're not the biggest fish in the cosmic ocean. Think about it from his perspective. All his life he's been the one everyone looks up to, the final line of defense. When Doomsday appeared, Superman was the one who could stop him. When Darkseid invaded, Superman was there to lead the charge. He carried the burden of being the world's greatest protector. But this cosmic entity showed him that there were threats out there so far beyond his scale that he would be utterly powerless against them. What do you do with that knowledge? How do you go back to saving cats from trees when you just witnessed the birth of the multiverse? For Superman, the answer was to focus on what he could control. He couldn't stop a reality-warping god from another dimension, but he could stop a bank robbery in Metropolis. He couldn't prevent a star from going supernova 1 billion light years away, but he could inspire hope in a single person who felt lost. His encounter with the voice of the universe didn't make him weaker. It made him wiser. It redefined his mission. It wasn't about being the strongest anymore. It was about being the best man he could be, a symbol not of ultimate power, but of unwavering hope and kindness. This storyline is so brilliant because it tackles the biggest criticism often leveled at Superman, that he's too powerful, too perfect, unrelatable. But here, we see him at his most vulnerable. Not physically, but existentially. He's confronted with his own limitations in the most absolute way possible. And his reaction isn't to despair or give up. His reaction is to double down on his core values. He accepts his place in the universe and finds a renewed sense of purpose within it. This cosmic awakening also puts all of his other battles into perspective. Fighting Lex Luthor, a brilliant but mortal man, suddenly seems like a very different kind of challenge. Luthor represents the best and worst of humanity, a struggle that Superman can understand and engage with on a personal level. After hearing the voice of the universe, these terrestrial conflicts become more meaningful, not less. They are his home, his responsibility, the world he has chosen to protect. The entity didn't have a name. It didn't have a goal, other than to exist and to observe. It wasn't judging Superman. It was simply revealing the truth of what is. And that truth is that the universe is vast, ancient, and filled with wonders and terrors beyond our wildest dreams. Superman got a glimpse behind the curtain, a peek at the source code of reality, and he came back changed. So the next time you see Superman lifting a mountain or flying faster than a speeding bullet, remember this moment. Remember that behind that incredible power is the knowledge that he is not the strongest. And that knowledge, that humility, is what truly makes him a hero. It's the understanding that no matter how powerful you are, there's always something bigger. And the true measure of a hero isn't how they compare to the gods of the cosmos, but how they choose to act in the world they call home. This story reminds us that Superman's greatest strength was never his physical abilities. It was his heart, his capacity for compassion, his unwavering moral compass, and his endless hope for humanity. Hearing the voice of the universe didn't diminish him. It affirmed who he truly was all along. Not the strongest being, but the greatest champion. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think is Superman's most defining moment? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into comic book lore, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.